What's up, everybody? It's your boy Dre here. I know it's been a minute since I dropped a video like this, but in all honesty, I felt compelled to do so, if I can say it that way, in light of something that happened to me last week. Let me be clear about something. You're not looking at an angry or a bitter black man. While the situation that I'm going to share with you was quite hurtful, I was outraged when it happened, and honestly, I'm still processing my feelings because I'm just surprised. Maybe I shouldn't be surprised that it happened. But in actuality, what happened to me last week has actually motivated me to be even more intentional about raising awareness, specifically raising awareness about the issue of racism. But as a follower of Jesus who considers himself to be called to the work of racial reconciliation, an advocate for reconciliation, I want to share this story. I want to give you this content in a very real, relevant, and a very redeemed kind of way. So stick with me for a second. So last week, I was doing what I do, and I was having a good time while I was doing it. And then I encountered, or shall I say, I came into confrontation with an individual, a woman, who happened to be white. Now, I like to imagine that the moment I said white, some of you probably cringed or you leaned forward in your seat. You probably felt something in your gut or you felt something in your spirit. Just bear with me for a second. Listen to the whole story. This individual, this white woman, she entered into the space that I happened to be overseeing at the time. The space where I was at the time the authoritative figure. And I say that very humbly. I'll just rephrase it just in case you have some tension about the way that I said that. I was in leadership during the moment that this confrontation happened. You feel what I'm saying? I'll just say that this woman entered into the space where I was, and she began to do something that she didn't have no business doing. She began to do something that wasn't right, that wasn't just. Can I just say it how I really want to say it? She was tripping. She came in there acting a fool, which led her to do something that was illegal. I politely and very graciously asked her to stop doing what she was doing. I politely and I graciously asked her to stop doing what she was doing on several occasions. But as a result, she proceeded to do something, once again, that she didn't have no business doing. Something that was worth calling the police about. And upon me asking her to stop, she turned around. She pointed her finger at me. Something rose up on the inside of her. She looked at me and she called me an effing N-word. That's right, I said what I said. She called me the N-word with a strong ER at the end of it. These are facts. I ain't making this stuff up. You don't have to rationalize it. You don't have to analyze the situation. You don't have to think logically about what I just said. Listen, I want you to embrace the tension, the anger, and the trauma that I felt when this white woman looked at me and called me an effing N-word. Now, I am fully aware that there is a potential for this video to receive some pushback. I am also aware that not everyone will receive this information the same way. But let me say this, I already know how it feels to get pushback when I have spoken up about the issue of racism. As I share this story, as I share my experience, as I share my thoughts and my convictions, I firmly believe that there are only two ways that you can look at this scenario. Either you can accept the truth and let the truth set you free, or you can remain in bondage to a demonic and a divisive ideology called, and I'm gonna say it again, and I don't care if I'm being redundant, racism. If this information will be met with any form of scrutiny or apathy, hear me and hear me well, and I say this humbly, friends, that is a very, and I mean a very small price that I am willing to pay, because I, as a black man, a young black man with a young family, can no longer afford to move at a slow pace. I can no longer afford to be content with the status quo, friends. We've been dealing with this thing for over 400 years. I can't do it no more. I'm tired of trying to deal with the exhaustive nature of managing somebody else's proclivity to be offended so easily. I'm tired of walking on eggshells, being careful about what I say, being careful about what I post, being careful about what I preach, being careful about the shirt that I wear or the face mask that I decide to put on that may be expressive of my culture or how I feel or my experience as a black man in America. I'm tired of saying Black Lives Matter when in fact Black lives do matter, while at the same time trying to defend my stance and say, I'm not talking about the organization. No, by now, if you don't know what people mean when they say Black Lives Matter, ain't no point in you trying to figure it out no more. At this point, you can call me what you want to call me. A communist, a socialist, a critical race theorist, or a Marxist. You can say and believe that the gospel or the Bible has nothing to do with social justice. You can feel that way. I'm praying for you, and you can continue to pray for me if you really think I've gone mad or I've gone crazy. The fact of the matter is, now that someone who is white has called me the N-word, it's really not much more that you can say that's really gonna bug me too much. There's a couple of ways that we can approach this situation. Either you are apathetic or you're empathetic. Either you will try to build people up or either you're tearing people down. Either you're going to affirm the dignity that God has given other people, or you're going to perpetuate divisiveness with your contention and your pretension. You can be just not racist, or you can be anti-racist. You can only demand justice for life inside of the womb. Yeah, I'm finna go there. Or you can demand justice for life outside of the womb as well. You can pledge your allegiance to a partisan political party, or you can pledge your allegiance to the King of Kings and the Lord of Lords. The late, great Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King had a dream that I want to realize. One that included the reconciliation of white folks and black folks, might I add. God has a kingdom that I want to actively be a part of. One that includes different people groups who are called to act justly, love mercy, and walk humbly with God and each other, might I add. I done got preaching now. Jesus has a gospel that is good news for people who look like me and for people who don't look like me. Whether if you believe it or not, friend, the gospel actually equips us to bring forth change within our interpersonal relationships, here it is, and within institutions that may not be operating according to just and righteous principles, all of which comes from God. I close on this note. I'm gonna keep preaching about it, I'm gonna keep posting about it, and I'm gonna keep pushing it. I'm gonna keep talking it, I'm gonna keep walking it, and I will continue to advocate as much as I possibly can. I'm gonna keep reaching, and I'm gonna keep teaching, and I'm gonna keep educating, because I want to see people come together for a righteous cause. Okay, for real this time. I'll close the message on this note. As much as I may not want to admit this, here's the truth. Jesus Christ died for the reconciler and the racist. If Jesus could leave heaven, sit his power and his privilege aside to come down to where we were to free us, then friends, we have no excuses in the matter of racial reconciliation. In the words of my pops, Pastor Calvin Ray Washington, and that's all I got to say.